It's time for From the Short Grass with Trey Schaap, a golf podcast for those who love golf, struggle with golf, and just like to enjoy the outdoors and fellowship with friends, all while chasing a ball around trying to put it in a 4 1/4-inch diameter hole. From the Short Grass is brought to you by Stevens Incorporated, an independent financial services firm with the freedom to focus on what matters most. And by Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels. We partner with you to deliver high-yield results by managing, developing, and investing in top-quality hospitality assets. And now, from the Short Grass, here is your host, Trey Schaap.
Welcome to another edition of From the Short Grass. I am your host, Trey Schaap. Dicky Pride, born in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, attended Tuscaloosa Academy and the University of Alabama, where he was on the golf team. He was named All-SEC his junior and senior years. He is a big Alabama fan, and that comes across in this interview that you're going to hear from him after the break. He has 3 professional wins to his credit, once on the PGA Tour, once on the Korn Ferry Tour, and once on the PGA Tour Champions, where he currently plays. He is hoping to end up in Little Rock at the Simmons Bank Championship, coming to Pleasant Valley Country Club at the end of October. He has to get into the top 54 in the standings of the PGA Tour Champions rankings, and if he can do that, then he will be at Pleasant Valley in October. Dicky Pride coming up on this edition of From the Short Grass. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group. Blair Allen and Matthew Allen, they know how to manage hotel properties. When you need an overnight place to stay, make sure you're going to a Beechwood Pinnacle hotel property. Find them on the web at bphotels.com. I'm back with Dicky Pride after this. Strength is measured not by the number of accounts. Strength is placing value on relationships. It's having the vision and the guts to invest in growth. It's the commitment to responsibly manage your money. At Stevens, we believe that our strengths build success, not only for us, but for our clients. Stevens, member NYSE, SIPC.
Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group is the leader in the state in managing hotel properties. From El Dorado to Jonesboro to Fayetteville to Kansas City and back home in Little Rock, you will find a Beechwood Pinnacle managed hotel property. Are you looking for a weekend staycation? Book the Hilton Garden Inn located on Rock Street and enjoy the Agassi 7-rooftop bar with fantastic views of the Little Rock skyline. Open Sunday through Thursday evenings from 4 to 11 and Friday and Saturday from 5 to midnight. Find them on the web at bphotels.com. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group.
Welcome back to this edition of From the Short Grass. I recently had a chance to sit down with PGA Tour Champions member Dicky Pride. He's also a Stevens ambassador, one of our great sponsors of From the Short Grass. He resides in Orlando, Florida, with his wife, Kim. He was born in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. His lone win on the PGA Tour came in the 1994 FedEx St. Jude Classic over in Memphis. I really think you're going to love my conversation with Dicky. On the tee, Dicky Pride.
Dicky, thanks for joining me on From the Short Grass. How's life in Dicky Pride world right now?
Well, it's usually not from the short grass.
Oh,
usually it's
on.
like chunk it out of the rough and, chip and putt it pretty good. So, no, I'm good, man. I'm 54 years old. I'm chasing a little golf ball around acting like it's a job, and I get to keep doing it. And
I see Stevens on the left side of your shirt and on your hat, and they are one of the main sponsors of From the Short Grass.
they got great taste, don't they?
They do.
Yeah, I mean, look at us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a great. Stevens is a great company. They have been very, very good to me. I've been with them as a client for almost 20 years now, and when I started to come to the Champions Tour, I was with TaylorMade for 20 years on the regular tour, and TaylorMade doesn't really do anything on the Champions Tour, and they were making at the time they were being sold, and so they said, look, we're not doing anything on the Champions Tour. So I approached Mr. Stevens, and we talked about it, and they've sponsored me, which has been just great for me. I mean, they're a great company, as you know. Mm-hmm. really helped me as a client. They've done a great job for me, and then the sponsorship was just very easy transition. I'm the anomaly, though, because I'm the only brand ambassador with golf that didn't go to the University of Arkansas. I went to Alabama. But my son actually graduated Arkansas in December and is there getting his accounting master's.
Well, how about that?
So I was like, well, I just traded. I mean, it's U of A. Don't just don't tell them which one.
The Crimson's a little different.
It's a little different, and I'm fine.
One football team's a little better or a lot better.
Well, it depends on the year. I mean,
I love here lately. It's been every year.
Well, yeah. We've had a great run at Alabama, and I'm very, very spoiled. But I love Sam Pittman. I love the way he goes about his business. I love the way he's built inside out.
Does Bobby Petrino as offensive coordinator scare you any?
I have no idea what to think about Petrino doing that. If he's good. I mean, he's good at what he does. He gets the most out of his players. He always has. That other stuff is, I don't know. It's none of my business. So, yeah, it would be interesting to see. I mean, they definitely needed to help last year. J.K. Jefferson was a really good quarterback. He's a really good athlete. And I don't even know where he transferred to. He graduated
UCF.
He did go to UCF. I should know that since I live in Orlando. But, yeah, I did know that at some point. But
I've got Gus Malzahn's number if you want to, maybe play some golf with him, their head coach.
He's no longer at Auburn. I'm in.
He'll only bet you $5. That's all he'll bet.
That's fine. We'll go to the Waffle House afterwards. Anyway, so I hope he gets has a great time at UCF because he is just a great kid. And I remember watching him when he was a freshman and just through the whole thing. And they needed some help last year. They struggled offensively. So hopefully Petrino can help them.
Let's talk a little golf. When did you first pick up a golf club and fall in love with this game? Do you remember that?
Well, I picked up a golf club when I was very, very young. My father was a golfer. My father actually coached University of Alabama golf team after he played there, and which I asked him, I was like, Dad, how are you the golf coach? You graduated in 59. You were the coach from 60 to 63. Now, this is before I ever showed up. But I was like, you coached your own teammates. He's like, Coach Bryant brought me to his office and said, Dick, you're going to be my golf coach because I don't have to pay you. And that's how my dad was a guy. And he was paid in season football tickets. And it's funny. So Gene Stallings was a golf coach before my dad. And Steve Sloan, who just passed away earlier this week in Orlando, who was a very, very good friend. He was actually my AD when I graduated Alabama. He was the golf coach after my father. So I'd known Coach Sloan my whole life.
That would be a great answer to a trivia question. Name another college sport that Gene Stallings was the head coach of.
He was the golf coach.
Wow.
How about that?
I'd have never thought
1959, yeah, he coached my dad. And then Dad was a golf coach for 3 years, then Coach Sloan. And then we brought in Conrad Railing, who came from Florida. Mm-hmm. And he was there until my sophomore year of college. So, yeah, somehow I'm an Alabama fan. Can you imagine? But so I played golf my whole life. I was an all-state basketball player and a golfer. And as I said, the only reason I got away with playing golf is because I played basketball. It was before golf was real cool. But, I've always played. I was a little bit of a late bloomer when it came to college golf. I actually walked on the golf team at Alabama twice. And I don't know how I'm here, but I'm still doing it. So, like I said, I just chase the ball around. So,
you're here.
Yeah, I'm still here.
I mean, you might have to pinch yourself, but, yeah, you're still here.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody's All-American made it, somehow.
When did you realize that, hey, I want to try and make this a profession? I mean, obviously going to Q school and stuff, you have to get through that back in the day. It's a lot different now, but, I mean, we saw what Nick Dunlap did.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of Alabama golf.
Speaking of Alabama golf, exactly. You just tee these up great. I love the way you're doing this.
I try to make it easy for you.
God knows I need the help. I qualified for the U.S. Open in 1992. That was at Pebble Beach, and Tom Kite won.
What a course.
And my dad caddied for me. I'd graduated. I played my last collegiate round in NCAAs. Actually, Mike Weir and I played our last rounds together, and we've been friends ever since. and I went to Memphis and I qualified. I had gone to the semifinals of the U.S. Amateur, which put me exempt into the qualifier, and I qualified for the U.S. Open. And I was really unsure of what, I mean, I was a walk-on, and I was never an All-American. So, I mean, that's a big step to try to go to that next level when you haven't had, I mean, yes, I kept progressing through college, but I wasn't, I wasn't the lead of the pack. And I played the U.S. Open. I shot 83, 88. I finished second to last. And for some reason, when I came back, I said, I'm not where I need to be, but I'm not as far off as I thought I was. And I think I want to do that. I want to try to play professional golf. And so I made a 5-year plan that if I wasn't on the PGA Tour in 5 years or winning on the PGA Tour in 5 years, that I needed to go do something else. I'd have been 28 years old. And I proceeded, and 2 weeks later, I had a boating accident where I was on a wave runner and got run over by my own boat because my buddy was looking down because a towel flew up, and I broke a bone in my back, and I didn't go to Q school that first year. So then I played a year of the mini tours, and to kind of put that in perspective, if you use baseball, with the big leagues being the PGA Tour and triple, double, single A.
Sure.
I was single A or maybe rookie ball.
Oh,
is where I started. In
low A ball.
The low A ball is starting off playing the mini tours and just kept getting better. And
hard work.
That was a lot of it. A lot of hard work. I don't think it's a big surprise that, right after I turned pro, I met my wife, and she has been a support of mine. 30 years we've been married, and I got a lot better at golf when I was around her. I so outkick my coverage, it's a joke, but she's a great support, and without her, I would no way I'm doing what I'm doing, because we had some tough times with it, and we have had some great times with it.
But I think almost everybody that has success in life has someone that pushes them and supports them.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure. You've got to have a lot of self-motivation to push yourself. But, I mean, the toughest part about out here is just relying and trusting yourself, because we're all so A personality. If it was, okay, you've got to work twice as hard and you're going to get the results you want, every one of us is like, I'm your man. We'll all do that because everyone works and everyone prepares themselves. But it's also, you've got to be able to say, I've put in the work, and now I've got to go trust what I've done. And, because I can tell you right now, because I've done it, Swing Thought 16B works great on the range. It's never worked in a tournament for me, and I'm still upset about it. But,
what about Swing Thought 13A?
Well, no, I got rid of that one years ago.
Okay.
But, but that's the way we are. I mean, we would all just do, we're happy to work and grind and do whatever we need to do to be better, whether it's, the gym or whether it's the range or the putting green, the chipping green, whatever it is. But it's doing that work and then trusting that work. And you've got to be able to do that, because when the what hits the fan and you got to pull off a shot, you got to have a lot of trust and belief in what you've done.
Your one PGA Tour win came in Memphis?
Memphis in 1994.
Yep. Very close to the state of Arkansas. Very close to the state of Alabama as well. Did you have a lot of fans there that day?
I did have a lot of fans. The ones that I knew. It's very interesting because I wanted a playoff, and I have found now that there were approximately 1.8 million people on the 18th green when I finished. Because every person I've ever met, I was on 18 when you won, and you made that putt in the playoff. And I'm like, well, thank you. But yeah, I was very lucky. My wife, Kim, who was my fiance at the time, flew up Saturday, which is, her parents had to pay for her ticket to fly up because and her mom just said, you never know how many chances he's going to have to win.
Right.
Because I can assure you, at that juncture in my career, I had not done anything to make you think I was going to win. And then my mom and my dad and my two sisters and my brother-in-law all drove up. And they actually, in the coverage, it showed, Gary McCord interviewed me afterwards, and I had both sisters, my brother-in-law, my wife now and my parents in the interview. So that was really great. And I had been there the whole week, and there was a guy I went to high school with. We went out to dinner every night, and it was kind of cool.
How about when the announcer said, "Why not Dicky Pride"?
Well, I think that was really great, but unfortunately I couldn't hear it because I was on the green. But,
Sure.
Actually they played that at his funeral. That was the one that they played. Nance told me that. When they had the funeral, that's the one. Why not Dicky Pride? It was just, I've got. I mean, that's as good as it gets. I mean, from a Hall of Fame career and a Hall of Fame guy, and he's like saying your name. You're like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Tiger Woods, when he came on the scene, what did he do for the game of golf?
He made it cool. Like I said, I played basketball, and the only reason I got away with playing golf is because I played another sport. I think he's done a lot for the game. I mean, he was super talented, but he also worked, and he told everyone he worked, and he was not going to stop working. And then he also brought it's okay to go to the gym and figure it out. When I played high school basketball, they wouldn't let us lift weights in season because they worried about it messing up our jump shot. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're looking at me. I know this is radio, but y'all will all look at me and go, guess what? He needs to work out. And I did when I was in high school, too, because I wasn't that strong.
You're a fine athletic specimen.
Yeah, well, I might have grown into it then.
Theater of the mind. We can create it on radio, Dickie.
But I think that, he changed a lot with it from the standpoint of it all of a sudden became really cool to play golf and brought in a whole new market of people that really got enthusiastic about the game. And you started getting a lot of kids that were really good athletes starting to play golf. I mean, Tony Finau, there's no way that guy's not playing basketball or football without Tiger Woods. He plays golf. I mean, you look at him. I mean, he's 6'5". He's just, he's the waist of a good tight end. But he played golf. And I got to think that has something to do with Tiger Woods.
Best part of your game, what is it?
Lack of flaws. I mean, I'm pretty good at everything. I've always been a really good putter. I've always said if they took putting away, I would be selling insurance. But, I think when I came to the Champions Tour, one of the big things I did was I said, this is what I have. When I turned 50, backstory, when I turned 50, I tore a ligament in my left thumb. And I'm showing you, and you can't see it on radio, but it looks great. And you can see the scar. They had to fuse my thumb.
Yeah.
And it kind of said, I was like, okay, this is the shot I can hit. So if that's all I can hit, then let's just go see what I can do with that. And I think that's probably my best attribute. I take what I have and I go score with what I have.
Do you feel like if you wouldn't have had so many injuries throughout your career that your career might have been different?
Yeah, I'm sure it would have been. Yeah, I had some bad stuff. I had gallstone pancreatitis. I was fed through a tube for 3 months. I went into surgery. They had to do emergency surgery, and the doctor looked at me, and I'm wheeling me in, about to put me under, and he says, I'm going to tell you straight up, you have a 50-50 shot of surviving this. And I said, he goes, you want to tell Kim anything? And I said, well, tell her the insurance is paid up. And they put me under. But, I mean, my son was 5 months old at the time.
Yeah.
And when I came back after that, and, I mean, I was working out before I could eat. I had tubes in me where I was being fed, and I was in the gym. Yeah, I think my career would have been different. I've had a lot of different things that have gone, I don't want to say wrong, but, this is a tough sport on your body. I mean, I'm sitting here, I've got a torn ligament in my elbow. I've got a torn meniscus in my knee, and I'm just normal for out here. We all have something. I mean, you take a stick, you hit the ground, 30, 40 years later, you're going to be hurting. And I can guarantee you that. And that's just the way it is. So my career probably would have looked a little different if I didn't have some of the injuries or some of the just, I had blood clots when I was in my early 40s. They come in, they're like, ultrasound my knee, and they're like, you have a blood clot. I'm like, there's no way I have a blood clot. I walk 8 miles a day. I mean, that's a minimum. And they're like, well, you're right. but you have a blood clot. So it's like, and then you have to go through the whole thing of going on blood thinners and trying to figure out the right one. And those are just, they're awful. They're difficult to deal with when you're trying to play at the highest level.
PGA Tour Champions, what's it like playing against these guys?
Oh, it's fun. I mean, like I'm talking about Mike Weir. We played college golf. I played college golf and whatever against all these guys. And in my early years on the tour, I mean, Doug Barron and I have been playing against each other since we were 12 years old and been friends. So it's a lot of fun to be able to do this. And I think that the majority of the people out here have perspective through their careers that they appreciate what we get to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, there are things we all could complain about. This is not right. This is whatever. But I think overall we're all just really fortunate to be able to, do what we do. I mean, I love playing in competition. I like golf. I like playing golf. I like playing with my buddies.
But you like to compete.
I love finding out if I can pull off a shot when it counts. That's what keeps me out here. All the practice, all the gym work, all the stretching every day, sitting up, putting on my TENS machine with ice, all of that is so hopefully Sunday you got a shot that you can't even spit. You're so nervous. And seeing, it's like, okay, let's see if you can do it.
Give me one of those shots that you've been over that you're like, okay, I can't spit because I am so nervous.
Oh, I've had, the win on the Champions Tour. I bogeyed the 15th hole. Yeah, bogeyed the 15th hole with a 9-iron in my hand. It was a great shot for a sand wedge. But it rolled back down the hill, and I make bogey, and now I've got a 2-shot lead, and I'm 16. I hit in the bunker, and I haven't looked at the scoreboard. I don't know exactly where. And I'm walking back, and it just goes, you got a 2-shot lead. And I was like, well, this bunker shot just got easier.
Yeah.
And I chipped it out there about like that, and made it. But then the last hole, I was playing with Billy Andre, and Billy, if he makes eagle, is going to tie me. And he hit an incredible 3-wood that took a bad kick and went in the water. But I've got a laid up, it's par 5, and I've got a sand wedge in my hand, and it's bunker right, you can't hit it in, water left, and I'm gassing. I am absolutely, because I got in the tournament because I'm underqualified when I won, so I am absolutely just gassing, and I hit the wedge about 30 feet and knocked it up there about 1.5 feet. I'm telling you this, I've never had 1.5 feet putt been longer in my life. I'm dying over this thing. I'm looking at it, and it's a little downhill. I hit the first putt, and it was like I was just starting my forward stroke, and I was like, "Whoa!" So I won. But but when you're in the middle of that, that's when I'm going. This is what I'm here for. This is no place else I want to be. This is exactly how I want to feel. This is exactly what I want to do. I love being in this position.
End of October of this year, you hope to be in Little Rock, Arkansas, playing in the playoffs, the second leg of the Charles Schwab Cup.
Simmons
They're
Bank.
at Pleasant Valley Country Club.
Pleasant Valley, Simmons Bank, yes.
And Stevens.
And Stevens is there,
They're
absolutely.
all part of it.
Hopefully I can find a place that I don't have to rent a hotel that week. So,
I think you will.
I don't
if
know.
not, hey, I've got room downstairs at my house. You can
I
stay.
appreciate that.
At Maumell's right across the river.
Oh, you're in Maumelle?
Yeah.
I didn't realize. I got a place up at Greer's Ferry.
Okay.
My in-laws are from Heber Springs.
Yeah.
So, I know that. I'm there every summer.
You've got a place. If you can't find a place,
I appreciate
you've got a place.
that. I appreciate that.
So don't worry about that.
Danny Snyder, my teacher, who's a golf pro emeritus in Lotion, he'd kill me if he heard me say that, because he's like, "You're staying at my house." I'm like, I know I am, Danny. I'm just it's radio. We're making a story. Come on.
I'll text Dan right now and say, "Hey, guess who's staying at my house?"
Exactly. Yeah. And he's like, "You can have him."
What a guy.
Oh,
what
love Dan. You want to do a whole new segment just talking about how great a guy
I've had
Danny
him on.
Snyder is?
Well, yeah, we could.
Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah.
I've talked to him. I talked to him 5 times yesterday. We're doing videos back and forth because I'm working on my chipping and then working on my putting, and we're, it's a beautiful thing. I love Danny. I've worked with Danny for almost 20 years now.
Wow.
And he's really been great to me. And he was my introduction to Stevens. He's the one that introduced me to all the people, and then I started working with him on a personal basis, and got to know everyone. And that's where Mr. Stevens took care of me.
Best golf course you've ever played?
Don't have a best golf course, and I'm sorry.
Come on, everybody's got a best.
No, I don't, and this is complete training, and I know it's a BS answer, but this is the way I think, and because I get this question all the time in pro-ams. I don't rank one course better than another one, because if you put one more important or one less important that you like or don't like, what's going to happen? You're going to have your best couple of rounds, and now you've got the most important round of the year on the golf course you've been complaining about all year. So I just don't do it, and I refuse to do it, and I won't do it, and I go to a golf course and I look at how I need to play it.
What if Dan Snyder asked you?
I'd tell him the same thing, except I would add a 4-letter word that you know the answer to that. But I will say this, the toughest golf course I ever played was a 2016 U.S. Open at Oakmont.
Yeah.
I mean, and I got caught in the bad wave. I was like third group off in the morning on 10. And on 10, I hit like a hybrid out there, and then a 9-iron that landed a foot short of the green and stayed short of the green. And then I think I putted it off the green and got up and down for bogey. And then on 2, I had like a 3-footer down the hill, and the bottom dropped out. And we were rain delay for 2 hours, and they didn't even we were sitting in these little trailers, and we're sitting there, and they come in and they go, okay, wouldn't let us go back to the clubhouse. USJ wouldn't let us go back to the clubhouse. They said, okay. You're in position in 10 minutes. You got 5 minutes to stretch.
You couldn't even hit balls or anything.
I'm 46 years old playing in this thing. And, I mean, I'm sitting in there with Patrick Reed, and Patrick's over there. I can't believe they're doing this. This is ridiculous. And I'm like, Patrick, I am 20 effing years older than you. I don't want to hear another word from you.
Exactly.
You just hush, you know? But that golf course, and then it got wet, and then it was a completely different thing. So, yeah, so I go over and make the 3-footer. Well, now I've got the next shot I've got is on 3 with the pews. And the
church pews.
Right in the middle of those mothers, too. It's like, come on. So that's probably the toughest I've played. I even played better in that Open than I did the U.S. Open at Pebble when I finished second to last. And it was still a harder golf course.
Yeah.
A little better by then.
Crazy. Yeah, a lot better by then.
Yeah.
Fantasy foursome, living or deceased, you and 3 others you'd like to play a round of golf with. Who would they be?
My father, my grandfather, Mr. Palmer.
Boom.
Yeah, I'm a member at Bay Hill. Mr. Palmer was extremely good to me for a number of years, and I owe a lot to him just from what he taught me with golf and being a professional and being in Orlando. I had a lot of guys do that, but Mr. Palmer was very good to me, and awesome. I would do anything to play with those 3 guys.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Dicky, I hope to see you in October.
I'll be there. I guarantee. Yeah, I'm gonna be there. I'm going to be there because I'm sure Curtis Jeffrey's gonna be like, "Well, Stevens, you need to come over." I'm like, "Okay, let's go."
Yeah,
but
he'll do it.
Hopefully I'll be there on my playing side. But and I love PV, so I go over there and play a lot. So
it's a great place.
Absolutely, it's gonna be fun.
It will be.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Traveling to Fayetteville to watch a game? Forgot to book a room for the night? Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group has you covered. Stay where the real fans stay. Staybridge Suites is just south of Baum Walker Stadium and is an all-suite hotel within walking distance of Baum Walker, Bud Walton, Bogle Park, and Razorback Stadium. Or you could stay at the Comfort Inn and Suites with the newly remodeled rooms throughout the entire property. Find them on the web at bphotels.com. When you need an overnight place to stay anywhere in Arkansas, check out bphotels.com first. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels.
At Stevens, our philosophy is to invest every dollar as if it were our own, to seize opportunity, to anticipate rather than react, to deliver constant focus in an ever-changing world, and to pursue the objectives of our clients in order to help them reach their financial goals. A proven history of helping companies and individuals. Stevens, member NYSE SIPC. That's all the time we have for this edition of From the Short Grass. I want to thank Dicky Pride for spending some time out of his busy schedule to chat with me so that I could bring you that interview. We are now on Amazon Music Podcast, so if you've missed any episode of From the Short Grass, you want to go back and listen to it again, you think you might have missed something in an episode. Amazon Music Podcast. Also find us on Apple, Google, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts, you can find this podcast, including YouTube. Remember, when you find your ball mark on the green, fix it and a couple of more. And I hope to see you sometime soon from the Short Grass.
You've been listening to From the Short Grass, a weekly podcast dedicated to the game of golf. This has been a presentation of the Buzz Radio Network.